Hello and welcome to part 5 of the full guide of becoming a buy-to-let landlord. In this episode, I'll be discussing how to find the right builders and a full breakdown of the costs for a terraced house renovation. Knowing your refurb costs and knowing your trades can deliver to a high standard is essential for ensuring your numbers stack for your deal. It's easy to fall into the trap of paying more based on what the agent or the vendor is looking for, but you need to know the maximum you can offer and knowing that the deal will still stack. So after looking at the floor plan and doing as much research as possible, spend 30 minutes at the viewing taking detailed notes and videos of each room, ensuring you show the kitchen, bathroom, boiler, consumer unit, any roof issues, any damp issues, or anything untoward that you might need the builder's advice on. So when you're offering on properties, your offer should be factoring in the finance and the buying fees, but also a conservative refurb cost based on your knowledge of each trade. Or some people bring a main contractor to the viewing and they'll be able to give you a quote for the full project. I use individual trades for the projects I carry out because I want the project management experience. So here are some tips based on my experience to find good builders. The main way I find builders is through word of mouth. So friends, family and other investors. And what I would do is go around the properties and check the quality of the work. Another way is asking a question in Facebook groups. There's a Facebook group of 5,000 people in my area called Lincoln Trades and Builders Good and Bad, where people are independently transparent about trades in the area. For example, you can ask if anyone recommends a plasterer in your area, and if there's more than 3 recommendations for a company, this would suggest that they've delivered on other projects consistently, and it will also mention other companies to avoid. You can also check general Google search, check a trade or my builder for their credibility on reviews. Asking recommendations from letting agents are also a good way of finding reliable trades. Another way, and this goes for finding investors as well, is talking to everyone that you meet about what you're trying to do. I found a property maintenance worker in B&Q has been on every project so far, and because he's part of my refurb team now, he's actually attended plumbing issues while I've been out of the country. Another thing to mention is builders have a network of trades behind them as well, so ask your builder who they recommend for certain jobs as well. I would recommend getting 3 quotes for each job when you're first starting out. Just to give you an example of this, I was looking for a plasterer and I got 1 quote for 10 grand, 1 quote for 5 grand and 1 quote for 4 grand. So here's a full run through of how you can plan for your renovation schedule. So you've got the keys. The first thing you want to do is fully rip out the property and get it back to a shell. So remove the kitchen, the bathroom, any flooring. So you can either do the rip out yourself or you can actually employ a company to do it for you and they'll manage the waste for you as well. The next thing you want to consider is if you're removing internal walls to match your desired floor plan, you're going to need to get in touch with a structural engineer to do calculations on steels and making sure you comply with building control. At this stage, you can get a roofer to check the integrity of the roof tiles and the guttering to make sure there's no issues causing damp. The next stage is organising the waste removal. So if you're doing this yourself, you might need to hire a skip. And if you're doing it on a terraced house, you might need to get a street permit to make sure that you can put your skip on there. Or like we said earlier, we might need to employ a waste removal company to get rid of it all for you, which I'd actually recommend. The next step is to get your joiner around to install new stud walls to match your desired floor plan. And also a bricklayer to come around and do any external brickwork. At this point, you've now got a bit more of an idea of the structure of the house. So now you need to get services to it. You're going to need to get your joiner in first to check the rafters in the roof, the joists, and the floorboards. You're then going to need your electrician to chase out the walls and also install new cables. The same for the plumber, and he's going to need to install new water pipes, gas pipes and earth bonding. If you need to install new windows, this is now the time to do it, but I'd recommend if you need to install new exterior doors, I'd wait till the end of the project before installing them. The next stage is you need to get the property plasterboarded and plastered. What I like to do as well, after it's been fully plastered and the floors have been levelled, is to give it a mist coat to make sure there's no imperfections in the plastering. After getting the property plastered, you might want to look at getting the ground floor self-levelled, ready for the kitchen and bathroom install. Now all the floors are levelled and plastered, you want to look at getting the kitchen and the bathroom installed. Some builders I've spoken to like to get the flooring in before the kitchen, but most builders I've spoken to like to get the kitchen in before the flooring, because in that way, if you need to replace the flooring, you don't have to rip up the kitchen. So now the kitchen and bathroom has been installed, you can now look at going into the second fix. So at this point, you want to get the electrician to fit the new face plates and the light fittings. The electrician is also going to need to install the new consumer unit. The plumber to connect the new radiators and also the boiler. You're now going to need to get your joiner to install new skirting boards, door lining, architraves and doors. Once the second fix has been completed, you can now move on to the decoration and the tiling in the kitchen and bathroom. For me personally, I like to have white walls and white woodwork. Moving on to the flooring then, and for me personally, I like to have grey carpets in the bedrooms and on the stairs. And finally, you want to move on to the snagging phase. The snagging phase is one of the most important parts, and you want to be documenting everything you can find, all the minor defects that are not up to your standards. So what you can do is you can go on notes on your phone and walk around each room, taking photos and notes of the defects that you find and ask the builder to rectify them. Some of the things you need to be looking out for is windows open and close, every light and socket fitting works, make sure the internal doors open and close. You want to make sure the showers, taps, toilets and radiators are all working properly. You want to check the quality of the plaster and the paint and anything else that you can find, and make sure after the builder's completed the work that you check the work's done properly before you pay them. So here's a full breakdown of how much it costs to renovate this property. So I bought this property in April, so when we removed the flooring in the dining room, which is now the kitchen, we found that there was damp on the quarry tiles. So because of the age of the property, the quarry tiles were directly on earth. What we needed to do was remove the quarry tiles and then dig 10 inches down. I found a contractor to dig 10 inches down, and he basically removed all the soil and put it in the back garden. So for this, it was £700. We used basically wheelbarrows and a spade to basically dig down and remove it into the back garden. So I did most of the rip out myself. So what I did basically was removed everything from upstairs, everything from downstairs, and put it in this room here. And I paid someone £1,000 to take it away. I didn't have to worry about skips, because then obviously I'm on a terraced road, so I'd have to pay for a permit if I was putting a skip here. So yeah, I got someone to come take it away with a transit van. For every property that I buy, I want to make sure that the EPC can get as close to a C as possible. And for this property, I actually managed to get a C. I put loft insulation, that cost £200 for 5 rolls of insulation from Wicks. Because I was converting the dining room into a kitchen, I needed to get water and waste supply to the sink. So I paid £1,100, and that basically went from the sink all the way down to the waste pipe. And also, because I was converting the kitchen into the bathroom, I needed to install a new soil stack, and that was included in that price as well. The cost for the central heating, including the rads, the boiler, the chasing in, and also the thermostat, was £4,000. The cost for the rewire was a bit cheaper than it usually would be, because it helped the electrician chase in the walls, run the cables in, and then he also obviously signed it off with an EICR. Everything like that, you can help people out where possible to bring the cost down. So because I was converting the kitchen into a bathroom, what I needed to do was remove the exterior door, brick up the wall, and then insert a window. So that cost £1,000. Plastering for the whole house, that included boarding up some walls, boarding up the ceiling, and also doing the full reskim of the house. That cost £4,000. The bathroom with the labour and the materials, that cost £2,000. The kitchen I bought from Ren, which I'd definitely recommend, because they come around and basically survey the space and like basically imagine what the room would look like before you put it in. The full installation, the cost, the labour, everything, that was £2,500. And as we previously mentioned here with the kitchen dig, we then needed to rebuild the floor, because obviously it was 10 inches down. So what we need to do, put damp-proof membrane down, put joists down underneath it, floorboard over the top, and that cost £1,000. The internal doors were originally glass, so we couldn't actually use them. So what we need to do was reclaim some doors from a different property. So luckily, my builder found reclaimed doors from a different project. So we were able to refit them doors into these door frames. And we also needed to install skirting throughout the property. So all in all, that cost £1,000. Me and my missus did a lot of the decoration, so that brought down the cost dramatically. Obviously we needed to get someone to come in and touch it up because it wasn't quite to the high standard that I wanted. That cost £1,000 all in total. External doors are quite expensive, so the French door was £800, and the front door, because it's a whole panel unit, that cost £1,200, so in total £2,000. So finally the flooring then. So the upstairs and the stairs are all grey carpets with I think 10mm underlay, and then downstairs you've got this room, the hallway, and also the kitchen, that's laminate flooring throughout, and then in the bathroom it's tiles, and that all came to £1,700. Thanks for watching today, guys. In the next video I'm going to be breaking down return on investment, yield, everything you're going to need to know for numbers in terms of buying properties to make sure your deal is actually a deal. Hope you enjoyed the video today, guys. If you could press like and subscribe, that would really help out the channel. I'll see you next time.